Chapter 1. The Rise of the Kingdom. In the year 980, the lands of Valtoria were a patchwork of warring tribes, each vying for power and dominance. The Kingdom of Valtoria, however, stood apart, its lands fertile and its people strong. Under the rule of King Edric the Bold, Valtoria flourished, united by an iron fist and a vision of peace. King Edric had inherited a fractured kingdom, but through strategic alliances, military prowess, and unmatched leadership, he brought together the scattered factions. His reign was marked by triumphs on the battlefield and prosperity in the markets. The people sang songs of his bravery, and the court spoke of his wisdom. The Kingdom of Valtoria became a beacon of strength, admired by neighbouring lands, but no kingdom could stand unchallenged forever. Chapter 2. The threat from the north to the north, the fierce and relentless warriors of the Frostborn clan had long eyed the riches of Valtoria. Led by their warlord, Ragnar the Cruel, the Frostborn were known for their brutal raids and their unyielding desire for conquest. As Edric's kingdom grew stronger, so did the envy of Ragnar. One fateful winter, as the northern winds howled across the frozen plains, Ragnar's army descended upon Valtoria. The first signs of their approach were subtle. Raiders spotted on the borders, livestock disappearing overnight. Then, the full force of the Frostborn marched south. They were a horde of warriors covered in furs and wielding weapons forged from the cold iron of the north. Edric's scouts brought news of the invasion, but it was too late to mount a defence in the usual way. The Frostborn moved like shadows, raiding villages and striking fear into the hearts of the people. The kingdom was on the brink of war, and Edric knew that the fate of Valtoria rested in his hands. Chapter 3. The Battle of the Frozen Fields. As Ragnar's army approached the capital, Valtoria's soldiers gathered at the outskirts of the kingdom, near the vast frozen fields that stretched beyond the northern forests. The air was thick with tension, the ground beneath the soldiers' feet cold and unforgiving. Edric knew that this battle would determine the future of his people. The Battle of the Frozen Fields was one of the bloodiest in the history of the kingdom. For days the armies clashed in the snow, the ground soaked with the blood of fallen soldiers. King Edric led his men from the front, his sword a flash of light in the darkness. But Ragnar was a cunning and ruthless enemy, and his warriors fought with unmatched ferocity. As the battle raged on, Edric's forces began to tire. The Frostborn seemed endless, and despite their bravery, the Valtorian soldiers were being overwhelmed. In the final hours of the battle, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Edric faced Ragnar in single combat. Their swords clashed with the sound of thunder, each strike echoing across the battlefield. But in the end, it was Ragnar who struck the killing blow. With a swift motion, he brought his sword down upon Edric, ending the life of the beloved king. The Valtorian army, leaderless and broken, was forced to retreat. Chapter 4. The Fall and the Aftermath. With Edric's death, the heart of Valtoria was torn asunder. Ragnar's forces marched into the capital, and the kingdom fell without a single soul to challenge their might. The once proud walls of Valtoria were reduced to rubble, and its people were either slaughtered or enslaved. The kingdom that had once stood as a shining example of power and unity was no more. But even in the face of utter defeat, there were those who whispered of hope. Hidden in the forests and mountains, small bands of loyal Valtorian soldiers and citizens began to regroup, vowing to one day reclaim their homeland. They spoke of Edric's legacy, the kingdom he had built, the peace he had dreamed of. And as the years passed, the legend of the fallen king grew, inspiring a new generation to rise against the Frostborn and restore Valtoria to its former glory. But for now, the kingdom lay in ruin, and the people of Valtoria could only wait, knowing that the sun would rise again. But it was a long and difficult road ahead.